Peace. Quick little. Ain't fast. Ooh, I move so fast, made the tablet sheets move. Wanna speak on a quote, basically something from Doctor Strange comic. Got a little Doctor Strange dripping a little sauce on. As a matter of fact, not even really Doctor Strange. Technically, the quote comes from Loki. You know, Loki is the brother of Thor, if you're familiar with Thor. But Loki is like the trickster. You know, could change forms, chameleon vibe, but he's like that little trickster. You know, vibration in essence. And he ended up taking Doctor Strange Sorcerer Supreme position. I didn't read the further episodes to see how that ended up happening, you know, but you know that's what was going on in the comic book. But long story short, it had a little quote, you know, that makes a lot of sense for our spiritual growth, you know, because our spiritual growth is it's a non-logical thing in most cases, and a lot of times, you know, it's when we look we look for our spiritual growth to be logical, in most cases it's far from that. It's divine chaos, you know, moving with that intuition and vibing, you know, so it doesn't have like no by the book way to do this, you know what I'm saying? I mean, yes, they have a way for us to not say by the book, but you know, a way to do it, which the only way to do it is be in the now. You know, stay in that high vibrational state, things of that manner. But you know, there's no by the book perfect way for, like, if everybody do this, then all people will perfectly ascend. Like, you know, there's no way to grow spiritually on that level. It's different on all levels for all people. But basically, they had a situation where Loki, basically with Loki being in the Sorcerer Supreme position, he basically popped things off on the level, like caused a little chaos in essence. But it was, you know, what he told Doctor Strange, it was like to prepare him for, you know, other situations. You know, matter of fact, you think about the Infinity Wars, you know, he brought up that and some other battles or whatever that he had to face or that he done face or whatever. But basically, you know, how I go, I'm just speak. This is the quote. That's what Loki told him. It was like, pity parties don't win wars, and neither do rules. You needed to learn how to break every single one of them in order to save this realm. I repeat, pity parties don't win wars, and neither do rules. You know, that's the main part. You know, that the rules don't win the war. But I gotta hear. Pity parties don't win wars, and neither do rules. You needed to learn how to break every single one of them in order to save this realm. You know, and picture me reading that right now, you know, in order to, and when you say this realm, you know, I saved this outer universe by saving my inner universe. You know, that point blank period, you know, it's inside me is what I'm taking care of. You know, of course we, you know, kind of do things on the external, in essence, that help people, but it's to help people go within themselves. You know, it's not to, we're not actually working on them, you know, we're helping them to go within. But basically, you know, what it's speaking to is, you know, that, you know, rules is not how, you know, the wars is won, you know, and we dealing with a spiritual warfare in essence. And when I say spiritual warfare, I always realize, you know, this, again, as far as going on inside you, you know, it's the outside of you, or your physical aspect battling your inner aspect. But again, he was like, the rules in essence need to be broke or bended in order for you to, you know, to save this realm. And what had happened, the reason why he told him that, because Doctor Strange, in this episode, he had to bring out that I don't know if it's the little void monster from the actual movie, you know, Doctor Strange the movie, but he had to bring out some demon and let it possess him in order to, you know, harm something else that was much more damaging, you know what I'm saying? So he had to basically open up another evil to take care of another evil, quote unquote, you know. But you know, and that's what Loki was telling me. He's like, you know, you had to break the rules, you know. And matter of fact, in so many words, he's like, and bro, with the what you got on your plate, like defending the realm against Thanos and all these other problems, it's like, man, you better learn how to bend the rules right now while it's still early, before it get too late. And then it's something you have to do to save this realm, but because they have a logical rule behind it, I can't do it because moralistically or logically, it's just not right, or it's just, and then bam, the whole realm blew up. Matter of fact, speaking to the aspect though, which is oxymoronic in essence, where because Thanos, speaking of like Doctor Strange going against Thanos, Thanos did that himself, like realized like, in order to save the world, I gotta break rules, or these moralistic rules that everybody see is moralistically wrong, but I know this is gonna save the universe. Like he had to I'm sorry, if I spoiler alert, just on some of the movie, but so matter of fact, spoiler alert on Infinity Wars, but basically, Thanos had to get this glove and get all the little crystals within it, and what he was basically doing was taking out half the universe, or half the galaxy's population, for the rest to live on and prosper. You know what I'm saying? So even Thanos had to, in essence, practice that vibration. You gotta bend the rules or break some rules in order to save the whole situation. And matter of fact, Thanos' situation, I think, to always use an analogy of the fingers being given up, like say for instance cold conditions, when frostbite goes to kicking in, so the heart or the bigger picture could be saved. The fingers gotta die and get cut off. You know what I'm saying? To save the whole body, basically. But that's basically it. And that's why, and I even had that quote of my own, like my approach to like sharing info. The way I like to share info kind of is like, like in order to save this realm, my information is not orthodox. Like I don't share information in that orthodox way of, the way everybody else do it, in essence. Like I give my own little vibe and flavor to it. I'm experimenting with my spiritual walk. So that means one day I might have a demon that might have latched itself on to me that I'm trying to get off of me. You know what I'm saying? But I'ma still do that video from a place of of course it's not to where I'm just like, like where it defeats the purpose. Like I'm not gonna like I say, make a video when I know that I'm so much in the lower vibration, say for instance, that I'm going to exchange that lower vibration to you. No. But, just with doing things unorthodox, and just doing it in a manner, how I feel, when I feel, not going off of the rules of, oh man, I got to make sure I'm feeling all the way great. You know what I'm saying? Like, as long as, and which, not to say that I'm feeling bad, but like I think of times when I'm not at my most creative, like I'm just in that mode of like more so making a video to share the information. I'm just not like I've been doing a lot of things, so my brain ain't all the way ready for it, so the energy levels is kind of down. Certain situations like that, but definitely again, when we saving this realm, we gotta learn how to break some rules, Like matter of fact, you was told you had to be vegan one day, but the next day you might have to eat some meat, you know what I'm saying, to save the whole world. What you gonna do? Say, oh, I'm a vegan, I'm not gonna eat meat, I'm not breaking my rule that I set for myself. Because logically, I said I'm a vegan and I never was going to harm anything, even though plants and vegetables and fruits get harmed in the process of me eating them. I'm not going to harm the animals because they make noise and I could feel their sentience a little more when I eat them. So I'm not going, like, man, just throw that logic to the side, And even with, and when I say throw logic to the side, to add to that on a different note, you know, it doesn't mean we don't work with logic as well, you know, because say for instance you might be, you know, like full on that creative side, you know, we're moving into the divine feminine, which is gonna be a balance, but it's very strong right now. So we're moving into divine feminine, you get strong divine feminine, and you find out, hey, in order to save this population, you gotta be extremely logical, you know, for 10 days or so, you know, whatever the case may be, you know, and it's like, but you gotta be able to, you know, flow with the change, be unorthodox, and not be afraid to, you know, bend or break the rules, quote unquote rules, you know, because I mean, other than the, you know, the laws of the universe, you know, I mean, most of the rules or most of the things in this universe, we all create. We are extension of source. So I mean, in essence, whatever rule you're breaking, you know, you're breaking your own rule anyway. So it's not like you're really harming anything. And of course, we're not talking about the law system, you know, with the government. You know, we definitely could talk about how some of the laws shouldn't even be laws in the first place, you know. So definitely ain't nothing wrong with breaking some of the rules, you know. You think about how herb is illegal in a bunch of places, you know. It's like, of course, break some rules, you know. You're gonna have to break some rules to save this realm, you know. Smoking ganja in illegal places is part of that. But, you know, that's basically, you know, that's basically it. Just wanted to share that aspect, you know, and show how, you know, the comic books just resonate with what's going on in this timeline indirectly, you know. At all times there's always a little story that could resonate with what's going on in your real life, you know, right now, you know, because again, all these comic books, Stan Lee, you know, was you know, given old school Nazi information, and you know, had to find a way to leak it out. So like, hey, in the form of comic books and stories, you know. But that's basically it. Peace. And happy now. Now's the vibrate. Not going too far in the future. Not going too far in the past. Right now.